The safety is off. There's a round in the chamber. This is Armed Alabama. Sponsored by McCoy Outdoor Company, Mobile's hometown full-line outdoor sporting products and gear store. An interactive talk show discussing self-defense, product reviews, shooting tips, safety, and more. Your calls, comments, and texts welcome at 343-0106. Now, here are your hosts, retired judge and certified NRA instructor Rusty Johnston, and certified NRA law enforcement instructor Adam Strange.
They're gonna pry these guns right out of my hands when they come to take them away. I believe in the rights that my fathers gave me when they signed the Constitution that day. No misguided president or crooked politician with a greasy pocket be spared. When the hard-working man gets tired of your cry, it's gonna rain right, beware. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. You're not gonna take it away. I stand up and fight for my freedoms and rights. That's the price you'll have to pay. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. Red-blooded to the core. You ain't ever had a fight in your life like the fight that you're itching for.
All right, welcome to Armed Alabama, a 2-hour show from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. where we talk about self-defense, firearm ammo selection, home protection, concealed carry, training, proper range etiquette, Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida law, and the U.S. Constitution and the U.S. firearms law. So glad you can join us tonight. We've got a good show for you, and this show is going to be huge. Joining us tonight in the studio is a Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors, so we're so glad they can join us tonight. We are going to talk turkey. Turkey season, that is. So turkey season just opened up not too long ago here in Alabama. So we have Wesley Parks here, and he is a turkey hunter extraordinaire. At least that's what I've been told. The bio, the credentials, I think, may say the same thing. I'm not sure. But Wesley, I'm sure, has a lot of information for us and all the different things that you can buy at McCoy Outdoors. And we're glad that he is able to join us tonight. And we appreciate McCoy Outdoors and their sponsorship of the show. If you have a comment or question or anything that you want to talk about on the air tonight, and you can call or text to 251-343-0106. Be sure and check out our Facebook page, Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5. We are broadcasting live, as always, on our Facebook page. So be sure to go to our Facebook page and hit like and follow. That way, each time that we post any new information or new show highlights, you'll be able to get notifications of that. And, of course, every Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., we are broadcasting on our Facebook page, Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5. We are broadcasting live each Tuesday from 6 to 8 p.m. We also are on Twitter, Armed Alabama 106.5, and we have a website, armedalabama.com. So that way, if you miss any of our previous shows on Tuesday, be sure to go and check out our website, armedalabama.com, and you can listen to all of our previous radio shows. They're there for you to download and listen. A lot of friends of mine tell me when they miss the show, they go to our website, and they click on it, and they download and listen to our shows. So sometimes they may catch 2 or 3 in a row. Also, you can listen to us via smartphone, TuneIn app. If you're outside of our listening area, you can listen via TuneIn app, and that's a application for your smartphone. You can download the TuneIn app and go to 106.5 Mobile, Alabama, and you can listen to us there, of course, on Tuesday nights from 6 to 8. And you can also listen from the FM Talk 106.5 website and also from our website, armedalabama.com. You can listen there from our website because we are simulcasting over our website. So lots of different ways you can hear us on Armed Alabama, and we are just glad to be here. And we've already got a couple of texts in already, and appreciate it from Jared every week. Jared comes on and he texts and says, Armed Alabama, exclamation point. So at least we got one avid listener, and we appreciate that. So thank you, Jared. We'll give you a shout out there. Also, during the week, if you think about a comment or a question that you would like to ask myself or the judge, you can email me, adam@armedalabama.com, or the judge @armedalabama.com. So again, if you would like to call or text the studio here and have a question for Armed Alabama, just give us a call, 251-343-0106. And if you liked our introduction song there, that is by Buck Allen. Buck Allen is a local singer-songwriter, and he has allowed us to use his song as our theme song. Don't Tread on Me. We really like that. We kind of jam out a little bit before each show as it comes on. And for those of you that are just now tuning in or are new listeners to Alabama, Armed Alabama, and we appreciate all the emails and messages. We may not be able to answer all of them, but we appreciate and we do read and look over those emails. So we know we have a lot of new listeners. So if you're a new listener, just want to introduce myself. I'm Adam Strange. I hold 11 different firearm certifications, including handgun, shotgun, and rifle for the NRA Law Enforcement Division. So I enjoy training. I enjoy teaching. I've been doing that for a lot of years, and hope to do it for a lot of years to come. All right, just want to take a real quick here and call out our advertisers and sponsors. And we are thankful for each one of these advertisers and sponsors, and they are David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Dr. Justin Foster of Foster's Chiropractic, David Grayson of Grayson's Air Conditioning, McCoy Outdoors, of course, and the law office of Matt Green. And we have just added some new advertisers, and the judge will be in later to talk about those. And Wesley?
Yes, sir.
You mic'd up? Good. So, again, we have Wesley here from McCoy Outdoors. Glad you can join us. And, Wesley, I understand we tried to get you on last week, but you were busy turkey hunting.
Well, I was busy heading to the camp to go turkey hunting on Wednesday morning, which is when it opened.
Yeah, we definitely want to be specific
as
when
you
guys went hunting.
Yeah, we can't hunt the eve before.
Right. So give us a rundown. If somebody wanted to go turkey hunting, I'm sorry to say I'm not a turkey hunting expert. I've been a few times, but definitely give us a rundown of what it takes to go out turkey hunting. Maybe some recommendations on shotguns, recommendations on shotgun shells and gear.
Well, first of all, it takes a lot of patience on both your part, the hunter. If you are married or have a significant other that you think really loves you, you'll find that out during turkey season. And then you look at the equipment. And a shotgun, most people are shooting either 3-inch chambered guns or 3.5-inch chambered guns. You want to have a full or an extra full choke in the barrel of the shotgun, and there are all different types of shotgun shells out there nowadays that people prefer and have an opinion on for turkey hunting, anywhere from a number 4 shot, a number 5 shot, a number 6 shot, and now there are some blended loads where they will have a 4, a 5, and possibly a 7, or they'll have a 5, 6, and 7, and those are very, very popular as well. In fact, we probably are selling more of the blended shells now for this year and last year than just the straight 5, 6s, or 7s. So you need that. You need full camo, head to toe, and literally head to toe, your face, your feet, or your hands, and you need to have some type of calling device, and you need something to be comfortable to sit on, a cushion, an inner tube, or some type of little low-profile seat.
Yeah, because you may be there a while.
if you're like me, you're usually there a very long time. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and the reason for being camouflaged from head to toe is what? The turkeys have good vision?
Turkeys can see as good as anything on the planet, probably.
Really?
People say eyes like an eagle. Well, I think a turkey can see just as good as any eagle can.
Is that one of the reasons you think Benjamin Franklin wanted the U.S. bird to be the turkey instead of the eagle?
I think so. Yeah, that had a lot to do with it. A lot of people say they're super smart. I don't know that I agree with that.
All right, we'll be back after this break with more Armed Alabama and McCoy Outdoors in the studio. We'll be back. All right, welcome back to Armed Alabama. Glad you could join us. And appreciate you hanging with us through the break. So we're here with, in the studio with us is McCoy Outdoors, Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors, and we are talking turkey, and that is turkey season. So, Wesley, we were talking through the break just about different comments and questions that individuals may have, and one of them is how long is turkey season within Alabama?
Alabama, the season runs from March the 15th till the last day of April. Someone in the studio a minute ago asked, could you hunt them at night? And that's a big no-no. Daylight hours only.
What's the limit?
The limit in Alabama is 5 turkeys per season. Some counties have a fall season, and if you, for example, kill 2 turkeys during the fall, that goes towards your total 5 turkey limit. So, for example, I hunt in Washington County, and we don't have a fall season. So you have from March 15th till April the 30th to try to kill your 5 birds.
That's a good point. So no night hunting. Even if you have some visual aids or anything else like that, you still can't do it at night.
No, nor would you want to.
Yeah, so when you're saying night is within vision range being limited to how far, or what's the actual classification of night time?
Well, I guess I should know that, and I don't. I don't think there's a limit of like 30 minutes after sunset or anything like that. I think it just says daylight shooting hours only, but I'm not positive about
I think you're
that.
correct in that. I looked at it last week, but I didn't get a chance to go back and refresh that information before the show. And from a practical standpoint of actually hunting the turkeys, turkeys roost in trees at night, and in the mornings they fly down and go about their day on the ground unless they're spooked to cause them to get back up in a tree. And then in the evening, they'll fly to their roost for the evening. So if you could hunt them in the at dark, you would actually be hunting them up in the air, and that would be somewhat difficult also. But that's not even an option. You hunt them during the day. Yeah, and as far as shotgun goes, what are the recommendations that you may make that McCoy actually carries, where one can go and purchase those shotguns, and the reason for those, say, model, make, barrel length, or choke type is based on what, the distances that you may be hunting or shooting at a turkey?
The industry standard, what the gun manufacturers or the choke manufacturers and the ammo manufacturers use as a standard is 30 yards. Well, there are a lot of folks, and myself included, that feel like it's necessary to have a gun that will effectively pattern at least 40 yards, and there are some guys that shoot them at 50 yards and beyond. It's just a matter of I guess, math, because as the distance increases, the pattern dissipates because the shot, even through a full choke tube, the shot spread out, and you want to have a certain density of your pattern at a prescribed distance so that you can ensure a good, clean, safe, or not safe, but quick kill. So 12 gauges are most popular. There are some people that use a 20 gauge, but 12 gauges are certainly the most popular. 3-inch shells will hold 1 5/8 ounces up to 2 ounces of shot, and a 3.5-inch shell will shoot 2 ounces or 2 1/4 ounces of shot. And so far as manufacturers, most every manufacturer makes a very good, reliable turkey gun. We are kind of fond of the Beretta shotguns. They have a gun they introduced a few years ago called an A400.
Right.
That's a absolutely wonderful shotgun. It's incredibly reliable, and I'm of the opinion that it probably is the lightest recoiling shotgun out there. The Benelli shotguns are also super wonderful. They're really light. If you want a gun that doesn't weight you down to carry it through the woods, if you walk a lot, the Benellis are wonderful, but they're an inertia recoil operated gun, and they kick noticeably more.
Right. Yeah.
I'm probably not going to win any favors with the Beretta, with the Benelli rep hearing me say that, but that's my opinion, and I think I'm right about it. So
well, each firearm, and it doesn't make a difference if it's a pistol or a shotgun or a rifle. Each different firearm or manufacturer, they all have their own pluses and minuses.
Absolutely.
Each of them have their own little quirks, and you got to decide as a owner, which are those features that you like the best.
That's right. That's right.
I know there's several guns that I use, and people kind of look at me sideways when I say, well, you know what, this may not be the actual best shooting firearm, and they just kind of look at you. It's like, well, why do you use it? Because,
right.
And I use it because there's certain aspects of that firearm that I think the pluses outweigh the negatives.
Sure.
And so I think you have to do that with every firearm.
That's right. And I'll say this, there are a lot of folks that don't want or can't afford or can't justify having a gun for every task. And a gun like the Beretta A400 will cover a lot of bases. It is, in fact, I think I'm still correct in saying this, it is the only 3.5-inch gun on the market that will reliably cycle 1-ounce target loads. And that may not matter to someone that doesn't shoot targets, but if someone wants to go to one of these quail plantations and shoot preserve birds and not just eat them up, and
that's a big plus. Yeah,
shooting a 1-ounce target load is a big plus. So you can do that with that gun, as to where most everybody else's 3.5-inch guns don't like any target load, much less a 1-ounce target load.
Yeah, it can be very selective on which type of shell that you use for which type of gun. So, but most people are working people, have other responsibilities, children, family, home, cars, what have you,
That's
and
right.
so it's hard for say an individual to have a specific gun for each type of use, whether it's going to be one for deer hunting, one for duck hunting, one for turkey hunting,
right,
or one to shoot trap with. So it makes it easy if you can have one gun that may cover 3 or 4 of those major requirements.
Right. And let me touch on something about that. If you are the one gun does all kind of guy, turkey season is about 45 days, I think, out of the year, and then you have duck season, dove season, and all the other shooting sports. You probably would want to buy a gun with a fairly longer barrel if it's a do-all gun. If you're buying it to hunt specifically for turkeys, then those guys or ladies typically want a gun with a slightly shorter or a much shorter barrel, and I kind of split the difference. My turkey gun has a 26-inch barrel instead of a 28 or a 30-inch barrel, but my dove gun has a 30-inch barrel, so which promotes follow through when you're swinging the barrel trying to shoot. You're not swinging to shoot a turkey, or at least you shouldn't be. You ought to be shooting at a standing still target. The barrel length is not critical. However, if you're hunting in small plantation pines or something like that, where you have a lot of trees around you and having to maneuver a gun, then a shorter barrel is certainly advantageous.
And also, too, it because of the shorter barrel, it may be less weight, and you may
that's right.
may be more prone to over travel if you have a longer barrel. Over travel meaning as you orientate yourself to the turkey or to the target, that you may over travel a little bit and have to bring it back and recompensate. So, that could take, half a second or maybe even a full second to do that, depending on the individual.
That's right. You're exactly right.
And within that window, you may lose your window opportunity to harvest that bird.
Yeah, they typically don't stand around and let you get the perfect sight plane on them. They're usually very curious and or alarmed and wondering where that hen that was sounding so pretty to them, where it is. So they're usually on high alert.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have more from Wesley Parks and McCoy Outdoors in a little bit. We have joining us later on this evening, and not too much longer from now, will be Senator Rusty Glover, who is a candidate for Alabama Lieutenant Governor, and he will be joining us after the break. When we come back, Senator Rusty Johnston will be with us. Excuse me, Rusty Glover. Too many Rusties around here. But it's all good. We're glad to have each of them here. So when we come back after the break, we'll do that. And definitely, if this is your time, if you have a question about turkey hunting, whether it be type of firearm, type of shell, or what may be the best type of shell for your specific firearm, maybe one that we haven't mentioned. I'm a cheap guy, and I like reliability. So with that, I have a Remington 1100 30-inch with a full choke, and I can change it out if need be. So you may have a weapon of that type, or maybe a cheaper one, like a Mossberg pump or something like that. So we definitely can have recommendations made on maybe what type of shell that is works best for you and in what environment. And I think that's important too, as Wesley commented a minute ago, is what environment you're going to be hunting in. Is that correct, Wesley?
Most of these guns, when you say environment, I think of weather and if you're in muddy conditions or not. So if that's what you're talking about, most of these guns are pretty darn reliable.
Exactly.
Nowadays.
Whether it be wet or muddy, if you're in one time, it could be damp, dew, this, that, and the other, especially if you have to walk a great deal from your vehicle to get to your hunting spot or perch, if would be. And, so you may have that dew or light mist or even a sprinkle. So those are the kind of considerations that you need to make when purchasing or using a particular shotgun.
Yeah, and a pump gun is certainly the most reliable because you're doing all the work. You're providing the energy to make that thing cycle and function properly. So if you're throwing it in the bottom of a boat or you're trudging through mud, belly crawling and all that kind of stuff and picking up debris and or dirt, mud, then a pump gun is certainly the most reliable. They kick more, but hopefully you're only going to shoot it one time 5 times a year.
5 times a year.
That's right. 5 turkeys, 5 times a year.
Yeah, but you got to practice though, right?
Yeah. So
if you're like me, you need a lot of practice. Maybe
8 or 9 times a year.
I probably need more practice than that. But that's good advice. Good advice. So when we come back from our break, we'll have Wesley Parks here with us again from McCoy Outdoors, and also Senator Rusty Glover. So catch us after the break. This is Armed Alabama. All right, welcome back to Armed Alabama. Glad you could hang with us here through the break. And in the studio with me is Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors, and we'll be talking turkey throughout the night, and that is turkey season, that is. But joining us now on the phone is Senator Rusty Glover. Rusty Glover is a candidate for Lieutenant Governor of Alabama. So glad you could join us, Senator Glover.
Good to be here, Adam. Last time I was on, it was the night of the election, and there was a little uncertainty how things might turn out. Y'all were broadcasting.
We were certain.
Was in the headquarters, and it was a little uncertainty, but we slept better that night.
Absolutely. That was an amazing night to be able to, for Armed Alabama, to broadcast from the Republican Party headquarters of Mobile. And thank you, Senator, for kind of going with the flow and joining us on the air that night. So that was a really good night, one of those nights that I will remember for the rest of my days to be able to broadcast from the headquarters and to have the election results that we had. It just made it that much better.
It was very exciting. Enjoyed it.
It was, and everybody was up to the wee hours of the morning watching the results. So glad you could join us then, and glad you could join us tonight, Senator.
Yes.
So if you will, just give us a rundown on your activities running for a lieutenant governor of Alabama, and how an individual can go to a website or a Facebook page and follow you or follow your activities or see you at the next event.
Yes, I'm on Facebook, and rustyglover.com are good ways to reach. And I was, about 3 years ago, I just kind of felt led by the Lord to be looking to a different direction. I'd served in the Senate for 2 full terms, and I'm in my 3rd term in the Senate. And I really like the Senate. I want to stay in the Senate, but I'll just be serving in a different capacity if I'm blessed to win the election. We were in full session Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Usually Wednesdays are committee days. We had also session in the late afternoon this past week, and following session, I traveled. I spoke in Bibb County, Huntsville. Let's see, where else was I? Piedmont in Calhoun County, Fort Payne. I was all over the place this weekend, and got home late last night from going on and kind of introducing myself to people in North Alabama who may not be as familiar.
They're not allowed to vote up there, are they?
Yes, they vote. They do. They vote. So you got to be at all places, and of course I'm finding out just how big the state of Alabama is, and it's a beautiful place, and some of the scenery I saw around the Sand Mountain area and the mountains up there are just beautiful, and I look forward to seeing them in October when the leaves change. That'll be pretty exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Alabama is a very diverse as far as terrain and landscape, and there's so much to do. Whether if you like hiking in the mountains or the hills, you can definitely do that. If you like fishing, there's all kind of lakes, and as well as here on the Gulf Coast,
if you like
you can fish in the Gulf.
You can find them about everywhere.
Yeah, I think, Rusty, Glover, I've seen you as well. You found some rattlesnakes a few weeks ago. Is that right, Senator?
Last week, I was in Opp in Covington County. They have the rattlesnake rodeo, and I didn't touch one of them, but I got pretty close. They had some secured little fences that kept you pretty much away from the snakes, but it was interesting to get as close as you could without any kind of danger.
So they weren't fried up like a lot of the rattlesnake rodeos are then.
Yeah, they were pretty angry snakes. They didn't like all the attention that they were getting. It was one area that was about 20 in one little section, and they had their rattles going all at once, and it was a sight to behold.
Absolutely, it's very interesting. I went to some rattlesnake roundups as a child. And so I seen your Facebook page, and it kind of brought back memories, seeing that where you attended that event. So
right, the day before, John Merrill, the Secretary of State, was attending, and he let them put one almost touching his neck. They were holding it out and had the head right next to his head, and I was thinking I'm probably not going to go that far. We did. I did see him at another event, and myself and the mayor from Huntsville, Battle, we all ate chitlins for the first time at a chitlin supper in Winston County this past Friday night, and it was it was a little different. You have to psych your mind into thinking it's pork skin as you eat it, or you start thinking what it really is. It's a little difficult to take a bite of it. But with the newspaper reporter sitting there in your face, taking your picture and writing down your comments, you had to pretty much
I can't imagine that.
It's like, oh, yeah, this is the best dinner ever.
Oh, yes, we were bragging on just how good it was.
Which
it wasn't as bad as I thought. I guess I did a good job of psyching myself up for it.
Well, good. I couldn't. I don't think I've eaten chitlins before, at least not knowingly. We'll put it like that. But I heard they were pretty good, though. If that's the taste, or you have a taste for it, I'm sure they're pretty good.
It wasn't too bad. I don't know if I'm going to be jumping into eating any more in the near future, but it wasn't too bad.
Yes, sir. Senator, won't you tell everyone how they can get a hold of you, your website, and then a really quick reason why they should consider voting for you in the primary?
Yeah, well, rustyglover.com, and I'm on Facebook. I've served 4 years in the House, and I'm in my 14th year in the Senate, and I'm pretty much have one of the most conservative voting records in the state legislature, and certainly 100% pro-gun rights. And I support the bill that's out there. It's a little controversial. Where you won't have to have a permit to have a handgun, and so I have a consistent pro-gun stance and voting record, and I look not to serve myself, but to serve the people of the state, and not just the area where I serve now, but the whole state. Now the lieutenant governor spot doesn't have a lot of power. A lot of that was stripped from it a few years, almost 20 years ago. Just pretty much you gavel in the Senate. You're like the referee of the Senate. You're signing bills committee, and of course, if something were to happen to the governor, whether resign or death of the governor, that lieutenant governor becomes the governor. So that's
how it works?
Even though it's a limited powered position, you really have to keep that in consideration when you looking for someone to vote for for lieutenant governor.
Absolutely, Senator, and we are very well aware of your Second Amendment stance and your voting record and your love for the Second Amendment, which is why we have you on the show, and we appreciate that. And South Alabama and Alabama, hopefully in the future, it will be fortunate to have you as our senator, and be fortunate to have you as our lieutenant governor.
Well, thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. I'm going to be working very hard. If it's the Lord's will for me to win, I'll win. If not, it's not because I'm not going to try. I'm going to work my behind off going around the state, introducing myself, and really promoting my conservative record.
Absolutely. So, for being from South Alabama, it's difficult to be able to travel to mid-state and north-state.
It is. Those in Birmingham and Montgomery do have an advantage because you can go north and south and be wherever in 3 hours. Whereas for me, it's about 5.5 hours to Huntsville, and some of the areas I was in Jackson County and DeKalb County, I was about 6 to 6.5 hours away. So it was a good ways away. I was away for 7 days, and it was kind of difficult to be away from my wife and my boxer puppy for that long. But it was nice getting in last night, but I did enjoy it. I got a lot accomplished, met a lot of people. Have a lot of I was a school teacher for 25 years and coach at Mary Montgomery High School, and had about 3 to 4,000 students. A lot of them are dispersed in different parts of the state, so I was able to meet up with them, give them campaign materials, and they're excited about helping me out and in their part of the state. And I hadn't seen them since they graduated, so they're excited for my campaign, and I look forward to it.
Well, Senator, what happened to your airplane? Why don't you just use it? That seems to me a lot easier.
It would be easier, but right now I'm driving an 05 Tahoe. I hit a deer last month in Coosa County, and the bumper's taped up. So once I get my bumper fixed, I'll I guess I can start looking at an airplane. But right now I'm kind of hobbling along the highways and getting places where I need to be.
Absolutely, you got to do what you got to do, isn't that right?
That's right.
Campaign is campaigning.
That's right.
So, Senator,
I'm enjoying it. I enjoy meeting people, going to especially these little small towns and meeting folks, and of course, you go in the little cafes in the small towns. You're going to have a more conservative folks are there. They're the salt of the earth, and it's good to meet them and talk to them, and I feel like I have a pretty good advantage on possibly getting their vote.
Stop by the shooting ranges. That's always an interesting experience.
That would be good, too. That would be good, too.
You're a little nervous before you go in.
And the other side of the Mississippi line, so I can't campaign there because it's in Mississippi. But
it's one up around with Trump
Alabama,
I can recommend.
Shooting ranges also.
Yeah, and that's really neat, Senator. As you go around the state, you're running into students or former students that you had as a teacher. And the thing about it is you as a teacher, a former teacher, as any teacher knows, is the impact You may not necessarily know it at the time, but the impact that you have on children is a major impact.
Right, and nobody really knows my character more than my family and my students. I spend a lot of time in the classroom with them, and I felt like I set a good example, and that's something that they respect, and they're very excited about the campaign. And I figured I have probably 300 to 400 former students that are dispersed outside the Mobile-Baldwin area. It's quite a few in Baldwin County also, but I'm looking forward to the campaign and their help also.
Yeah, ask them if you can stay with them. That really saves them money.
Yes, I was in a different hotel each night, so it was kind of rough.
Yeah,
unloading and loading and packing up and each night this past week, but it's all right. It's not too bad, you know. It's a lot of times I think back. I say, well, I could be involved in August football practice, and that was pretty about as tough as activity I've been in.
About as hot as those motels rooms are.
Tougher than that on the campaign trail. So
Senator, can you hang with us through the break here? That way we can catch you up on the other side. So after this break, will be more of Armed Alabama, Senator Rusty Glover, and Wesley Parks of McCoy Outdoors. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Armed Alabama. We got a full studio, and this show is huge. I'm telling you, huge. So on the phone with us
Hello,
now,
Cincinnati.
On the phone with us now is Senator Rusty Glover, candidate for Alabama Lieutenant Governor. Also with us in the studio is Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors. And leaving the studio is Channel 5's Alan Carter and Clinton Bourgeois. So we were glad to have them sitting in on the show with us for a little while. And, of course, with me is the Honorable Retired Judge Rusty Johnston.
I'm here.
So that actually Channel 5 was here interviewing Judge Johnston. But the other Rusty here, Senator Glover, is on the phone. So, Senator, we as the judge and myself want to ask you a few questions regarding SB 24. Okay. We talked during the break. You know, there are definitely some pros to the bill, but there's also definitely some cons to the bill.
Okay.
So, just want to hear your quick words on it. And
well, a lot of it's. I think I read it like 2 months ago, and I'm not as clear on the actual detail of it. I read enough of it to know, and of course, I read the whole thing, but I'm for it.
It's twice as long as it ought to be.
We get a lot of questions about from gun owners. Why is it we have to pay for our Second Amendment right? And they got a point.
Well, I can tell them. I've told them that.
This bill more than anything is that people feel like that the Second Amendment is not something they need to pay for, and they shouldn't have to have the government know where their guns are and have to register and or have this permit. And so that's one thing. Now, of course, there's some aspects that some are saying, well, it won't be as many people getting their permit. Well, in many of the states where this has happened, the actual number of permits were increased because a lot of people feel more secure with their weapon when they have it with them at all times, and when they travel from state to state, the reciprocal agreements between states dictate that they have to have a permit. So it's not like there's going to be a tremendous amount of people that are not purchasing those permits as before. But I think it's more of a principle thing more than anything else. You don't have to pay for your Second Amendment right.
Yeah, agreed. We have talked about it several times since the bill was released. We like the fact that you don't need a permit in Alabama, but the thing about it is so many people travel to other states,
right?
And if you use that excuse, well, I'm not going to get a permit, the next thing you know, you've got to go to Florida or you've got to go to Mississippi, and that's the nature of South Alabama, as you know, Senator.
Right.
Is all you have to do is drive 45 minutes from Mobile in one direction, you're in another state, and an hour, you're in another state.
Yeah, where I'm sitting is about 10 minutes to Mississippi.
Yeah, so exactly.
Right.
So, if you're purchasing in that pistol permit, which is very easy to do, $20 in 20 minutes, you have that, and you have that, like you said, you have that reciprocity with the states, our neighbors, to our west and to our east. So that's definitely the pros to having that pistol permit. Like I say, it's $20, 20 minutes, and you've got it. But as the judge and I have talked on several occasions, another advantage to that pistol permit is if you're ever in an altercation where you have to use your firearm as self-defense, then you have that pistol permit. You're automatically identifying yourself as a law-abiding citizen.
Right. I see. Well, the bill, as we sit right now, is gone through committee. It's now ready, poised to be voted on on the floor, and I've inquired on it 2 or 3 times, from the sponsor, saying, when is your bill coming up? And he said he's been promised it'll be coming up after the budgets. And the budget, we will be poised to pass the education budget the day we get back from the little break, and then we'll be receiving the general fund budget from the House. They have already passed it. And as soon as that is done, which should be about a week or week and a half, this bill will be up. And right now, from what I've heard from both sides of the issue, the Senate they're not lobbying us either side really much in the Senate, because it's pretty much known that it's going to be a slam dunk. It's going to pass overwhelmingly in the Senate. But in the House is where they feel like it's going to be. They could have some trouble with the bill and actually even getting it up for a vote. I'm pro Second Amendment. I'm for the bill, mainly on ideological grounds. But this is the kind of bill that's going to draw more support, because with NRA behind it, that's going to be part of their scorecard when it comes time to send out their scorecard to voters in the next election. People are interested to see what's their percentage on the voting record for NRA. And you're either going to have, well, in the Senate, we have had a few votes, not very many, but you would go from 100% to 75% or 66% if you vote against this bill. In the House, I'm not sure if they've even had a pro-gun vote at this point. They would be going from a 100% to a 0% on one vote. So it's going to be very difficult for those to vote against this particular bill.
That's a good point, because I myself over the years as a NRA life member and NRA law enforcement instructor, I've consulted the NRA's website on individual or politician's voting record, especially at election time, of course.
Right.
So those things, like you said, can be important. Another thing that the judge and I talked about previously in the past is regarding being able to have the firearm in your car as you're traveling down a road without a pistol permit. Because in my mind, me personally, as Adam Strange, I feel like your automobile is an extension of your home, and that's
right.
In a lot of neighboring states.
Passed, about 15 years ago. That's right. It's an extension of the Castle Doctrine. That's right.
And your bill takes care of that.
Yeah, we did check the language on that, or the judge did.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it's we've been getting requests for this bill probably 2 or 3 years. Gerald Allen also had the bill, guns in the car bill, and there were some that were so adamant that we need this bill more so than the other bill, that they were not really working hard for the other bill because they're looking for this bill to come forward with, to not have the permits. But like I said, it's going to be a slam dunk in the Senate. The House is where it's going to be the big battle, and it's going to be interesting. I'm just hoping it will come out ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And I like your statement that you said earlier that. And I guess I would mirror that statement as I'm for it from an ideological stance, but more so I think is just to me from a rational reality standpoint that I would go ahead and still purchase the pistol permit just because of myself. We travel to Florida, to Mississippi, to Louisiana.
And that has been the case in many states. In fact, we've one of the NRA lobbyists showed me a statistic that in a couple of the states, the numbers of pistol permits went up dramatically over the same period of time following the passage of this same type bill. And so it's
be hard to go up anymore here.
Right.
Yeah, you would. I mean, you would hope.
And there's another. To be honest, there's another variable. Whenever there was a shooting under the Obama administration, people rushed out to get their weapons and also to get permits too. So that was going on at the same time as these bills were passing in other states.
Yeah.
So that's a factor too. But still, it didn't really. Once this was passed, it didn't really deter the purchase of.
Well, I won't pick on you and point out that you have a constitutional right to bail, but bail still costs you something, or you have a constitutional right on the Ninth Amendment to travel freely. But unless you're a runner from Kenya, you're going to have to own a car and have a driver's license to travel, and that's not free. But
yeah, that's correct.
I won't pick on you.
You're right. You're right. I agree. I understand.
So, Senator, we're coming up to our 7 o'clock hour here. So, just real quickly before we leave, give everybody a chance to go and visit your website and your Facebook page. So, just call that out real quick.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It would a lot of it's all on my. If you go to Rusty Glover on YouTube. My 90-second commercial is, I think it's like 68 or 70, 80-second commercial is on YouTube, and check that out. And a lot
we'll
of
have it
information
put on our
that you need to
page
contact
too.
is on that.
Yes, sir. We'll have that, Senator. We'll have that put on our page as well. We have a YouTube channel, Armed Alabama, and a Facebook page, so we'll definitely put that out there. But thank you so much, Senator, for joining us. You have a good evening.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me. Okay.
Good night. Be careful.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, we'll be back with more Armed Alabama. All right, welcome back to the second hour of Armed Alabama. Glad you can hang with us through the break here. We still got a big show for you. In the studio with us now is Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors, and we're going to talk turkey for the rest of the show here on this 2-hour show, and that is turkey season, that is. And, of course, we have Judge
all of us turkeys are in here.
Yeah, the rest of the turkeys.
We got some wild turkey in here, too, that Charlie's using.
Yeah, and earlier we had Senator Rusty Glover called in, and Senator Glover is going to be a candidate for lieutenant governor of Alabama, so we were glad to have him on, and he also discussed with us SB 24, the pros and cons of it. There are some good pros, and, of course, there are also some cons. So if you're just now joining us, this is Armed Alabama. We have a 2-hour show where we discuss self-defense, firearm ammo selection, home protection, concealed carry, training, proper range etiquette, Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida law, and, of course, U.S. law and the U.S. Constitution. If you have a comment or question, you can call or text us 251-343-0106, and we've already had several individuals text us tonight, and we will be getting to those texts here shortly. And also, be sure and check out our Facebook page, Armed Alabama Radio, FMTalk1065, where we are broadcasting live on Facebook. So you can go on there, definitely choose to follow us, and comment. You can comment as the show goes on. Throughout the night, you can comment on there. We have so many people that just check in with us, let us know that they're listening, and tell us they like the show or tell us they don't like the show. Either way. But definitely check us out, Facebook Live, and our Facebook page is Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5. Check us out on Twitter, Armed Alabama 106.5, and, of course, our website, armedalabama.com, where you can go and listen to all of our previous shows from our website. And you can also go to the Patreon link there, and you can click on the Patreon link, and you can contribute to Armed Alabama. If you like the show, definitely we want to give you that opportunity to go on there and contribute. You can contribute $5, $10, whatever you see fit.
And we're going to try to do our Google Hangouts chat Thursday night. So we will. One thing you do need is a Gmail account. So if you don't have a Gmail account, it's real easy opening one, even if you don't want to use it for anything besides this. So if you've already given us, doesn't matter how much, through Patreon, or want to do that, at least $5 a month, but get your Gmail account and mail it to Adam or me so we can send you the link.
Yeah, absolutely. You can email us, Adam at armedalabama.com, or the judge at armedalabama.com. Again, if you have any comments or questions, you can call or text to 251-343-0106, and we'll be glad to hear from you. This is if you're interested in turkey hunting, this is definitely your chance to call in and pick the brain of Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors, who is a turkey hunter extraordinaire. Is that right, Wesley?
I would never say extraordinaire. Nor would my friends or family.
Anyway, well, we're glad to have you in the studio, Wesley. Thank you for joining us. And we want to definitely thank McCoy Outdoors for their continued sponsorship of Armed Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of advertisers and sponsors, we'll go ahead and call those out real quick. Those are David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Dr. Justin Foster at Foster's Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, David Grayson of Grayson Air Conditioner, McCoy Outdoors, of course. We got Wesley Parks of McCoy's here with us in the studio, the law office of Matt Green, and Judge, our newest advertisers.
Well, I want to tell you about it. I picked up a few things there today. Is some of our local Ace Hardware stores that are owned by Todd Martin, and those are the Ace that's closest to me up there in the shopping center where Rouse's is, 4364 Old Shell Road. And then there's another one that is on Moffett Road, and then there's another in Creola. And let me tell you, one of the things I picked up were galvanized cable clips, and good quality, and I could pick up an odd number because I needed an odd number. I needed 7 of them. Well, there were many places where I would have had to pick up a bag with 10, 25 or whatever, but I could pick up just what I needed, and I could put my hands on it and see, yeah. Now, how they keep up with all that, I will never know because, you take it up there and all, but you can get what you need there, as much or as little, and you don't have to go overboard with it. And by the way, all of the stores are online, and they have online specials. And I won't waste my time with them, waste your time. But the Spring Hill Ace, for instance, they'll have their clearance and they'll have their online specials. And I guarantee you, well, I mentioned this too. One of the things they have is a master lock, and it's what I use on farm gates a good bit. That is about it's not quite, well, maybe it is a half-inch covered cable with plastic with it's more of a padlock type device. I tell you, I've got a device that will cut cable like that, but it's about $125. So it's not like chain that you can get a cutter for, I don't know, $25. Cable is real difficult to get to, and you can make them yourself, but believe me, it's a lot easier just to go up there and get one from them. But if you have bicycles, but gates, that type of thing on your property, go get a master lock like I think it's master lock like they have that has that cable, because it's all in one, and somebody's going to have a hard time getting through that. You get even nice chain, just clips run right through. So our Ace Hardware stores, they preserve the best that we used to have, but they keep the prices down because they're buying in bulk. And just like McCoy's, they're hometown owned and operated, and friendly folks here.
Definitely so, Judge. And if you go to Ace Hardware, if you go to McCoy's or any of our advertisers, be sure and tell them that you heard about them through Armed Alabama. So if you would like to advertise your business on our show, we would love to have you. So you can email me, Adam, at armedalabama.com, and we will definitely make it happen for you. Our rates are very, very reasonable, and we enjoy having our advertisers and sponsors, and we would definitely like to add you to our Armed Alabama family.
If you meet Adam's standards, he's kind of tough.
I'm kind of picky. If I knew that Wesley Parks worked there prior, I don't know if we'd have picked up McCoy or not. No, absolutely. Of course we would have. So we have Wesley Parks in here from McCoy Outdoors, and we're here talking turkey season, that is, and we're glad to have Wesley in here. So, Wesley, we were talking earlier about different aspects of turkey hunting, and I've got a text here that's an interesting question. So with the chicken flu in North Alabama affecting chickens, so would they affect wild turkeys here in South Alabama? the bird flu or whatever?
I have no idea.
I don't either. That's an interesting question.
And that's the problem you get from these industrial raising of poultry. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'm sorry that I can't answer that, but I do not know.
Believe me, I think someone would have warned us if that was a danger. But
yeah.
So I guess maybe if your turkey is a little chicken, you got to steer clear. Bump, bump. All right, we're getting ready to go into a break here, but we'll definitely hang with us after the break. Listen to these awful jokes. We'll have more with Armed Alabama after this break.
Looking at this bird flu, and I wouldn't think it's pretty specific to the strain. So nobody do like normal and go out and panic. So Wesley, one thing about turkey hunting that I guess always bothered me in the past is a little bit of boredom. You know, I'm a little on the hyper side. Do you just need to try to chill out, or?
Turkey hunting is a game of patience. And if you're
I don't have.
If you're not a patient person, if you're fidgety like me, it's a very challenging thing to sit still, because sometimes you have to sit perfectly still for possibly hours on end. If you have a turkey that's hung up 40, 50 yards away, or if you have multiple turkeys and a number of eyes, you have to be still. And if you can't be still, don't go turkey hunting.
Yeah. Well, I think I have chosen right to abandon that years ago. But it's such a nice time of the year. It's just good to get out.
It's maybe the greatest time of the year. The dogwoods are blooming right now. We have wild azaleas. I don't know what the scientific or proper name is, but we call them wild azaleas. Right. And they're blooming right now, and they're just so pretty. Walking through the woods, my daughter hunted with me Saturday morning, and we walked up, and she said, "Look, Dad, there's one of the plants Mom liked, and it was a little wild iris."
Yeah.
And, you don't see, they're not scattered everywhere.
Slow down and take time to look around.
That's
it's
right.
Amazing what you can find.
That's exactly right. Interesting story. It's a very long story, so I won't tell it. But opening morning, my son and I were hunting in our favorite place, and an adolescent bald eagle was aggravating a bunch of turkeys, and at the same time, a whole covey of crows, and I know that's not the proper term for I think it's a crook of crows.
Squad of crows.
A squad of crows. They were aggravating and molesting the eagle, and because of all the commotion, the gobblers that were in the area were just absolutely on fire, and so it was a very special time, something that I've never experienced, and it was one of those you had to be there to appreciate it kind of deals, but it was really something else. And I've seen a lot of really wonderful things in the woods, but you just don't see things in the fall and winter like you do in the in the springtime.
And you do have to slow down, which I tend not to be going slow, but you have to slow down and smell it and just look around. It's amazing what there is.
That's right, and that's the bad side, because right now you don't have to try to smell to catch all the pollen, so your head's all stopped up. But
I'm thinking in another few weeks I can pull out the tankers, double dose and everything with Roundup that I need killed.
That's right.
Which is terrible.
No, it is. It's a special time, and to hear a turkey gobble is in itself really neat. But to watch a turkey strutting, to hear one drumming, and non-hunters don't know what that is, and it's hard to explain to them. But it's a unique, distinct, low tone noise, and the sensation that I think I feel is that the hair on the back of my neck stands up every time one of them drums, and it's just a really unique, special time.
Wesley, how long is the season here in Alabama?
From March 15th to April 30th. And we talked about it earlier, but you go out early in the morning, preferably before first light, and get in the area where you think a turkey is or where you hope a turkey is, and either stand at a higher vantage point or go get where you know that they are in the area and go ahead and set up. And as daybreak occurs, you get to watch the world wake up, and the songbirds start singing, and then the owls hopefully will start hooting, and maybe a hawk will make a noise, and then the crows will start. And sometime in all of that, the idea, the the goal is to have a turkey gobble, and hopefully he's close to you. But you hunt them. I'm one of the lazy hunters. I don't want to get out there and hunt in the afternoon and swat bugs and sweat. So I hunt them in the morning mostly. Now last week, because the weather was so cool, it was a great opportunity to hunt in the afternoon. But as a rule, I hunt them mostly in the mornings.
Right. So if someone was a novice hunter and they wanted to get into turkey hunting, they could go to McCoy Outdoors, and I'm sure y'all could recommend anything in the world that they needed as far as gear, ammunition, shotgun. So real
absolutely,
quickly,
we have, I think we have a very well stocked store, and
I would agree.
We have all the clothing necessary. We have the guns, we have the ammunition, and then we have the things that people don't think about until they're out there and they need them. Right now, the bull gnats in the swamp are getting to be pretty bad, and DEET. Even the 100% DEET is not the most effective thing on bull gnats. We actually have an all-natural product that's from Ocean Springs, actually. And it's interesting. It's called No More Naughty Gnats, and every word starts with a G. So, yeah, and it's all natural. It's essential oils, and it is very effective on the bull gnats, as to where the DEET and the Thermacell appliances and all that are great on the mosquitoes. This stuff actually works on the bull gnats. So we sell just a boatload of that stuff this time of year. And you don't think about that until you're out there, and they are absolutely eating your face up. Mm-hmm. So we have that, and again, if you need a flashlight to get into the woods, if you trek a long way in, we have what you need.
Or if you need gaiters,
or snake boots, and we have some rubber snake boots. So if you hunt in the river swamp, we actually have a real waterproof snake boot.
Wow.
They're not the most flexible things in the world, but they work, and they work really, really well.
Right.
So. I'd like to think that we have everything you need, the one-stop shop.
You get a long way from your truck, and you don't have any gaiters or snake boots or chaps, and then you see a snake, you think, I really wish I had put some on.
There's a little panic. And for those that are super worried about it, we actually have snake bite kits, too. So, yeah.
I'll admit to having one of those in my medical kit.
Absolutely.
So cool. Thank you, Wesley, for sharing that. Give us real quick how everyone can find McCoy Outdoors, and also you have an active social media, Facebook page, and so forth.
We are at 3498 Spring Hill Avenue, just west of I-65. I tell everybody we're behind the Waffle House because that seems to be a landmark in Mobile. The one on Spring Hill.
That's a better bell to ring than the old K&B.
That's right. We're in the old K&B drugstore, which is at the west end of that Spring Hill Village Shopping Center. And our phone number is 251-473-1080, McCoyOutdoor.com. And we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I follow those regularly. And I tell you what, Wesley, and I've told you this time and time again, what impresses me most about McCoy Outdoors is the level of knowledge that you and your sales staff have there at McCoy's. If you have a question about anything, or if you're unsure about anything, then, you guys definitely have the answer. You have the gear, but you also have the answers and the knowledge.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we but besides myself, we have a number of folks that have not only worked at McCoy Outdoors for a number of years, but some of them have worked in other stores as well. So they have a pretty darn good bit of knowledge, and most of the folks, at least on the hunting fishing side, practice what they preach. The guys behind the gun counter, they are all hunters. They're not just shooters, but they're all hunters. The guys in the fishing tackle, they're fishermen. We're not the offshore store and don't pretend to be, but if you want to go speckled trout fishing or catch redfish, we have the knowledge and we have the equipment that works around here at least.
What is your gunsmith's name? I'm having
Doug Harbin.
Yeah.
I want to say about Doug. Doug is actually going to have shoulder surgery tomorrow. So we wish him the best.
Yeah,
and
we'll definitely keep him in our prayers.
Tough,
it is a tough surgery.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll have a speedy recovery because there's a number of guns in the back that he needs to get to work on.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
So Wesley, I got a text here, and it looks like it's directed to you. Wesley, why haven't you got your daughter her own bug suit yet for turkey hunting?
I can only imagine who that
I don't
text
know who
came from.
Yeah, I don't know who it came from, but it was definitely directed at you. And speaking of text, Judge, we have a few I want to get to here. Thoughts on one of the texts is thoughts on 22 pistols. I'm looking for a new Ruger Mark IV Hunter.
I've got one.
Do you?
Yeah. Also,
don't take it apart.
They are rare as hen's teeth right now.
Yeah.
Ruger has not shipped very many of them. Most of the distributors are holding them hostage.
Now, I'll say mine's the 2245 Mark IV 22.
But it is a Mark IV.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which configuration.
And it's such a fun pistol to shoot.
Just don't take it apart either.
So the next part of the question is how much ammo should one keep on hand for each caliber they own? And my answer to that is as much as you stinking can afford. That's my answer.
I was going to say all of it.
Yeah, all of it.
As much as you can afford.
10,000 rounds per caliber is a good start.
That is a good start. I would agree.
I will tell you that ammo is easier to get right now than it's been in 8 years.
Since we're on Facebook, if you want to make sure your ammo lasts forever, and you got air conditioning showers, it probably is. Wait, is this our Soul camera? Y'all see that? That is 9mm ammo, but it's been sealed, and I think the 5 mil, the thickest, the food saver type thing. So it's no air inside, and I'll put it in some of the plastic
ammo
boxes that have the O-ring, and then throw in some of the
desiccant.
Yeah, sure will. We'll be back after the break, and I will tell you some more about keeping it dry.
All right, this is Armed Alabama. We're back. We were trying to get another clip to play, but it looks like we're having some technical difficulties. In with the studio with me is Wesley Parks from McCoy Outdoors. Did you got it?
One by one, they are being tracked down and thrown the hell out of our country, and we will not let them back in. One by one, they are being tracked down and thrown the hell out of our country, and we will not let them back in.
I think he's talking about non-shooters and non-hunters. They're being one by one are being thrown out. Isn't that?
So you want to give the audience a...
That was President Trump's speech in Louisville, Kentucky, I guess yesterday afternoon.
It was a good speech, by the way.
Yeah. Well, it was. He just mentioned Abe Lincoln in it, but I guess you go to Kentucky, you got to do that.
All right, Judge, we have caller on the line, LD, the Mad Trucker.
Hey, how y'all doing tonight?
All right, what you got for us?
What time does McCoy open?
9 a.m. every day that we're open, which is Monday through Saturday. We close at 6 p.m. through the week and 5 on Saturday.
And how does that gnat stuff do on horse flies? We got that coming up, too.
Ooh, yeah.
I can tell you that it works pretty darn well on yellow flies. If you're talking about a bona fide horse fly, I cannot answer that.
No, I'm talking about the yellow ones. Man, they'll eat you alive out in the Delta.
Yeah, it works pretty well on yellow flies.
All right, fantastic. I'll come get some. One more thing. Can you hunt hen turkeys? Because I put my camera out in the woods last year, and there was I would say 40 to 50 hens to every male that we come through there past the camera.
Right. The answer to that is no.
No, you cannot hunt them.
You cannot,
I guess you meant legally.
You cannot legally hunt hens. It's gobblers only.
Okay. It's just my opinion. I don't think I'll ever turkey hunt, but boy, it sure looks lopsided in the woods. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's a good question. One of the questions that just asked is, how do you tell them apart, Wesley?
There's a number of ways. This time of year especially, the gobblers, their heads are, I call it lit up. Their heads are kind of a iridescent gray, silvery-looking color.
Holes in them where they've been henpecked.
Yeah, they have holes in the top of them where they've been henpecked. But their heads are this iridescent gray. A mature gobbler will have a beard coming out midway up his chest, generally, unless he has beard rot or something like that. And the coloring of the body is, if you pay a lot of attention to it, like most birds, the gobblers have a lot of color on the sides of their the upper. I guess that's the saddle of their wing. They have a lot of color when the sun hits it. There's a lot of different colors that you wouldn't otherwise recognize. And then typically, if you have a gobbler standing by a hen, he's about 20% bigger overall than the hen is in physical size and stature.
It's just like with humans, the male is usually the more attractive, handsome.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Unless they're from South Dakota,
right.
Did he just say that?
I think so.
I've been there.
Sorry to you folks in South Dakota.
Yeah, no doubt. And they're probably listening too, Wesley, on the on our Facebook page and internet, because we have a lot of listeners from all over the country. I'm sure Chase could probably tell you. Is there anybody listening from South Dakota?
Not anymore, at least.
Not anymore. They just dropped off, huh?
That's right.
All right, so gentlemen, we've got another question here. We'll go to that was text in. The question comes from Hal. It says, "Gentlemen, I have a concealed carry question. I have an Alabama concealed carry permit. When I travel to Florida, are there any special considerations that I need to know?"
Well, we're reciprocal with Florida. I do not think Florida has a show your ID upon contact, but I'll let you know. Of course, what I always say is that if you have your gun where it can be seen or you can get to it quickly, where it needs to be, that's where it needs to be. You can get to it quickly. Then or a place you're going to access when the police stop you, then you need to tell the police upon first contact. But if you've got it like a lot of people in a bag, in the back, all the way in the back seat unloaded, then
that don't do you any good.
Yeah, but it's not doing you any good. But I'm certain, but I just want to double check because, they change laws about every other day, which is real fun for people to keep up with.
Yeah, at first blush, from memory, I don't think that's the case with Florida.
I really don't think I'm trying to think. Louisiana has a weird deal of saying if you got your gun in your car as an extension of your house and not as a permit, then you don't have to tell them. But if you have a permit, then you do have to tell them, which is really strange.
Yeah, of course, if you're from Alabama traveling through Louisiana, of course, you have to have a permit, so you're required to tell them. So,
well, that's right.
That's kind of a paradoxical there. All right, Judge, we have a phone call here from Alex.
No duty to
from
inform.
Mobile.
No duty to inform.
How you doing?
Hey, fine.
Hi, Alex, you got a question about 308 heavy barrel?
Yes, sir. I bought a Steyr heavy barrel rifle. The Steyr is manufactured in Austria, okay?
Yep.
And I love shooting off sandbags. I'm a target shooter, not necessarily a hunter. But what I've noticed is if you shoot like a Remington 700 heavy barrel, when you shoot a barrel and it heats up, your groups tend to walk out after so many rounds. But that's not true with the Steyr. So how is that possible?
Oh, that's a good question, Alex, and it depends also. You could say a heavy barrel or a heavy contour barrel, and that's basically what you're talking about. A lot of rifles, they may say heavy contour barrel, but they might necessarily be a target barrel or something like that, or a medium contour barrel. So if you have a barrel that may be a little bit lighter, then yeah, they will walk as you have heat expansion in the barrel. So the heavier the barrel, the less expansion or less movement the round makes when it strikes the target. And of course, you mentioned a favorite manufacturer of myself and Wesley Parks. We're a big fan of Steyr, whether it be their rifles or their pistols. I'm a big fan of Steyr pistols. But Wesley, you want to comment? You have any further comment on that as far as the heavy barrel?
A little bit, yes. The Steyr rifles, like most of the European guns, the German guns, the Austrian guns, those people, first of all, for a long, long time before the United States caught up in the technology and metallurgy, the Europeans made better steel than we did.
Absolutely.
And the barrels that they made were made from a superior steel to most of the barrels made by the gun manufacturers in this country. And not only that, but they did a much better. They were more precise in their methods for cutting the rifling in the barrels and just making the barrels in general. A lot of hammer forged barrels. A company called Sako, most people call it Seiko in Finland. They started doing what's called buttoned rifling, which is basically for lack of words, this isn't the process, but imagine running a cable or a rope or string, whatever, down a tube, and then you tie something barely bigger than the diameter of that tube, and you pull it through with force, and it cuts the rifling in there.
Whoa.
And that was the process. Of course, they didn't use cables, ropes, or strings, but they had some type of, I guess it was a hardened steel mandrel that was slightly oversized that had this cutter head on it, and they would pull it through, and it would cut the rifling. And that is a very precise way of cutting rifling, and Sako still does that today, I believe, and I think that's right. But also Steyr, like Sauer, J.P. Sauer, they've done an incredible job for years and years and years of building highly accurate rifles, and that's why they could command the prices that they've commanded for all these years, because the reputation was earned. It wasn't marketed and fabricated. It was earned, and their guns just shoot, and they shoot extraordinarily well. So that's not a direct answer, but that just kind of enlightens it. Instead of trying to make 500,000 guns a year or 200,000, whatever Remington or the other companies, Steyr builds guns to demand, and their quality controls are probably unequaled by anybody in the industry today.
One thing I've always found, too, a good old military rifle will last forever, whereas a new mass-produced rifle is going to last a tenth of that time.
No doubt.
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with, again, as you stated earlier, Wesley, on the metallurgy of the barrel, but also your older military rifles tend to be chrome-plated, so the bore lining itself is very hard in comparison to chrome moly steel or what have you.
Yeah, that and they go to great lengths when they inlet the barrels and the actions into the stocks. It doesn't matter if it's a composite stock or a wooden stock. They go to great lengths to properly inlet or to cut out and insert the action in the barrel to where there's only pressure where they want pressure on that. And there's a thing called free-floating barrels, and Remington does it, and all of them do it, but the Europeans seem to have figured it out to where it's better.
Yeah. And, a lot of people put a bipod on the barrel, and they'll do everything they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, you don't want to influence that barrel any more than you can. If you pull on your sling, that's putting pressure on the end of on the forearm of the stock, and that can cause the stock to put unequal pressure on the barrel, and that just blows a group.
No leaving it out in the rain or anything like that.
That's right. That's right. So hopefully that helped you just a little bit, sir.
There's so many different aspects to shooting a precision rifle or shooting any time. We always talk about the judge and myself, and I'm sure you do as well, Wesley, and you talk about shooting fundamentals when it comes to shooting and really emphasizing those fundamentals, and that's stance, grip, sight alignment, sight picture, trigger control, breathing, which is very important on a precision rifle, and then, of course, follow through, which we had mentioned earlier.
And that's important also in handgun shooting.
Yeah, absolutely, especially, stance and grip is definitely a biggie. And if you want to shoot fast.
It's hard to think about that when you got a chain around your neck, though, and you're in some alley with the guy trying to stab you. Okay, let me get my breath right.
Yeah. So you may not even breathe, as I do. I don't take a breath a lot. And so when I'm shooting, so definitely stance and grip, sight alignment, trigger control, and all that. And we'll discuss that more when we come back after this break. This is Armed Alabama. All right, Wesley, we have Wesley Parkson here from McCoy Outdoors. And Wesley got a question for you, and this comes from our Facebook listener as they lot of Facebook listeners are commenting in on our chatter tonight. So if you want to go to our Facebook Live, you can listen to us, and you can also watch us as we're broadcasting Facebook Live on our Facebook page, Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5. And the question comes from Dennis. The question is, can you bag a gobbler without a beard?
As long as it is a male turkey, it is legal to kill it. There are occasions where a turkey, for whatever reason, does not have a beard. It can be a genetic defect. There's a thing called beard rot, and I'm not real sure what that is. I think it's a fungus where it eats away, erodes the beard, and sometimes, and I've seen this actually fairly recently, to where a turkey will have beard rot, and it will appear to be a jake. And a jake usually has a beard that barely protrudes out from the feathers in the chest, and they're sometimes 3 inches, sometimes 4 inches long. So, and then on the flip side, there's a thing called a bearded hen. So you might accidentally,
could be like a transgender.
Yeah, they can identify, I guess, as whatever they want, but they are a true hen. They have just grown. They have grown a beard. So, my advice would be to look at the head. You'll never see a hen that has a kind of a glowing, iridescent white head with red wattles on it. You're not going to see that. You will see a small wattle that's not inflamed on a hen, but you're not going to see that bright red wattle with that glowing white head. And if one's out in the field, then you have an opportunity to look at the head, the beard, the body, and if the grass or weeds or whatever's out in the field isn't too tall, you can look at the spurs as well. And the gobblers will have spurs, and it's kind of, it's a trophy to kill a long-spurred gobbler.
When Thomas Jefferson was president, they bought Louisiana, and he sent Lewis and Clark out there to explore, and he says, before you come back, when you're on your way back, shoot me a woolly mammoth to bring back. I want to prove to the people in Europe that we've got bigger animals than they do. But they never found that woolly mammoth.
Never found it.
So one of the questions we were talking about earlier, or the comments, actually, there's a comment to one of the lines of questioning we were talking about earlier, Wesley, is, I think I mentioned about using 1100, and I think one of the texts we have here, it says 1100 only uses 2 3/4. So actually, my 1100 is a 3-inch Magnum.
Yeah, that's an older one.
Yeah, that's an older one.
The Remington 1100 was either a 2 3/4-inch chamber or a 3-inch chamber, and then Remington developed the 1187, which was their first attempt to make a gun that would shoot both 2 3/4 and 3-inch chambered shells. A 3-inch Magnum, and it will say on the side of the receiver, it will say Magnum on the side of it.
Yep.
That gun will pretty reliably, if you keep it clean, shoot 2 3/4-inch high-velocity shells, and back in the old days of 2 3/4-inch Magnum loads, which that's non-existent today, and 3-inch shells. But it will not reliably shoot 2 3/4-inch field loads.
Yeah, mine actually has a little bit of issue, but like you say, the thing is keeping it clean. I can clean it, and it will definitely. It'll process probably 3 out of 5 of the very light field loads. Your basic target shells or what have you.
Right. Remington actually designed the 1100 to run almost totally dry.
That was about 64 5 that they came out.
And most people have a tendency to spray anything that's steel down with oil. And the worst thing you can do to a Remington 1100 or even the 1187 is to spray that magazine tube with any oil.
Ooh.
Yeah.
If you want to spray it for rust prevention, spray it and do your darndest to wipe it off.
Yep.
Or put it on a cloth.
And you'll leave just enough residue to hopefully protect it from the rust. But you don't want to lubricate that thing.
And it seems like any gun, ARs will they tend to like a lot, but some people go way.
Oh my God! How many times, Judge, has we've had a class and individuals come with a pistol or a shotgun? Yeah, they fire and oil splatters everywhere. It's like, what did you give it a bath before you came down here?
I'm probably taking a chance, but always get a air compressor, and if I think I've got extra oil, I blow, and you blow it out.
Let me make one more comment about the gentleman with the 2 3/4 inch 1100. You can purchase 2 3/4 inch turkey loads, and if you think that you might need to shoot over 30 yards on a regular basis, you should invest the extra money and purchase one of the tungsten-based loads like Heavy Shot. The tungsten is super hard, and you could shoot number 6s. You can get it in number 5s or number 6s. I would probably recommend number 6s until you at least pattern your gun with a variety of different shotgun shells, just because 6s are smaller and you have more pellets per load.
That's a good idea.
But you can kill a turkey all day long with a 2 3/4 inch number 6 lead. But if you're shooting at distance, I would recommend spending the money on the tungsten.
Yeah, it's not like you're shooting 500 times. You're not out there with a trap machine.
That's right. Hopefully you're shooting once a day.
Yeah.
For 5 days.
Yeah, and that's a good point. The thing about it is the technology changes, methodology changes, and as you stated earlier in the show, Wesley, is that the shot changes with the newer shells that's coming out. Winchester, Remington, or whoever.
We looked at the tightness of buckshot.
Yep.
I had tactical buck.
Oh yeah.
From Federal LE. It was like this at 25.
Oh yeah.
30, and then just a trash brand was spread like you would think it was.
All the shot types can get confusing. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
And that's what's good about going down to McCoy's because your guys are extremely knowledgeable and they can help the consumer sort out what they need.
We try. Thank you. Yes, sir.
So, real quick, where can somebody go to McCoy's? Where y'all located, and how can they find you on the internet?
McCoy Outdoor Company, 3498 Spring Hill Avenue. Like I said earlier, right behind the Waffle House on Spring Hill Avenue, right by the interstate, I-65. Internet is McCoyOutdoorCo.com, and we're on Facebook and on Instagram.
And did I hear a big box sporting goods store was closing down?
That's the word on the street. It made, I think, USA Today and Wall Street Journal and everything else.
They were always higher on most things, I found.
Right.
I used to go to the one in Hattiesburg when I go up there and ride that trail, and I was kind of shocked when I would look at like a trap, a box of trap. Clay pigeon.
So
I've only been to the one in Mobile, and it just never got off the ground well.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know if it was location or management or what, but it just never got off the ground.
So, Wesley, we have a couple of texts here is wanting to know the hours, weekdays, and Saturdays.
Monday through Friday is 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday is 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Closed on Sunday.
Yeah, McCoy's is absolutely a great place to go. They have so much in there. It's just fun to walk around and see what all is there and what all is available to an avid shooter or an avid hunter or even an avid runner.
Oh yeah, the real runners go there.
Yeah, and if you're a beach goer, we have one of the best selections of polarized sunglasses in Mobile, Alabama. And that's a little off subject, but we sure have them.
That's good.
And sell a lot of them. So, yeah.
So
it's not just for the hunter or fisherman.
Yeah.
So we have Peter's calling from Pensacola, and we'll have to get him on the next show because we're just about out of time. But we appreciate you calling in, Peter, from Pensacola.
Thank Buck Allen.
Yeah, we did thank Buck Allen.
Okay, want to make sure. I want to thank all of our advertisers.
All of our advertisers and sponsors.
Ace Hardware Stores, Todd Martin, thank you. Then
we have David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Justin Foster's Chiropractic, Grayson Air Conditioner, McCoy Outdoors, of course, and the law office of Matt Green. We want to thank all of our sponsors and advertisers. Without them, Armed Alabama would not be on the air.
So right.
All right, join us next week, same bat time, same bat channel, for more Armed Alabama.